Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Launch of Future Hospitality virtual event. My name is Jen Downs. I'm the TAFE New South Wales Industry Lead for Hospitality, and I'm your MC today. We are streaming live, and our panel members will be joining you live today from their homes. We have well over 100 schools joining us, and we're excited to have you with us. And to any parents listening in, a big shout out in these challenging times. Joining us today will be representatives from TAFE New South Wales, Training Services New South Wales, Department of Education, the Australian Culinary Federation, Applejack Hospitality, and our inspiring hospitality industry stars. As this event is taking place in a virtual space, I'd like to acknowledge that we are all standing on the lands of different nations. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional custodians of all nations and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. I would also like to welcome any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people joining us today. By now, I'm assuming that everyone is familiar with the chat function in Zoom. Later this morning, our guests will be available to answer your questions. So I encourage you to all get involved by typing your questions into the chat. For those of us joining us on YouTube today, you may not have the chat function, but we're happy to answer any questions anyway. This session will also be recorded and a link will be sent out to you later next week. To open our event, I would now like to pass across to David Collins, who is the Executive Director of Training Services New South Wales. Over to you, David.
Thanks very much, Jen. Welcome, everybody. It's great that you're able to join us. I'd like to acknowledge that I'm meeting you today on the land of the Gadigal and Wongal people of the Eora Nation. I pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and extend a greeting to any Aboriginal people who may be with us today. I want to welcome everyone, students, teachers, career and transition advisors, the employers and industry experts who are going to share with us about this fantastic industry, and also our colleagues from TAFE New South Wales. And I want to acknowledge the teachers, careers and transition advisors who've demonstrated their ongoing commitment to ensuring that all young people are able to finish school well prepared for higher education, for training, for work, for whatever destination you might choose to follow. Also our industry ambassadors in TAFE New South Wales who are committed to partnering with us in these events, which are a really good showcase of industries and a really good way of getting a handle on what the opportunities might be for you in your chosen industry. And I want to acknowledge you students who are raising your aspirations by investigating career options, looking at what the industry is about, what opportunities are there for you and what you might need to do to get there. That's what today's all about, making choices about what you might need to do to follow the range of jobs that are available to you. And events like this, like Launch Your Future, introduce you to the range of careers that are associated with the hospitality industry. It's an industry that is really, bearing the brunt of the current restrictions, but it's an industry that is incredibly vibrant, incredibly vital to so many of us, and that offers such a great diversity of careers. You'll hear directly from employers and industry leaders today who will inspire you about the range of jobs and career opportunities. My experience of these sessions is that the industry people who work with us on them are here because they want to share their knowledge with you, because they want to share their passion for their industry, and because they want you to think about a career in this industry and how you can engage with it and prosper. Today, we hope you're motivated to ask questions, to find out what steps you can take to build your skills, your experience, and grow your connections and networks across the sector. We'll unpack unimagined career opportunities and further opportunities for study pathways with TAFE New South Wales. This is an industry that is really well supported by vocational education. There are some amazing jobs that are supported through vocational pathways, and there are so many opportunities for you looking at your transition through senior secondary school, through things like EVET or school delivered vocational programs, but beyond school through TAFE delivered training, through apprenticeships and traineeships, to get to really exciting opportunities. Really, we know that skills and qualifications in this industry mean the world's your oyster. So enjoy the day, absorb as much as you can, feel free to ask questions, and think long and hard about what the opportunities are here for you and what you need to do to take advantage of them. So thank you very much, and I hope you get a lot out of the session.
Thanks, David. That's a great introduction. So what does a career in the hospitality industry look like? A few weeks ago, we called upon some of our rising stars in the hospitality industry to answer that question, and this is what we have discovered.
Hospitality, it's not like bread, it never gets stale. It's more like aged wine and always get better. Every day is a new day. Every day you meet someone new and they're going to really inspire you to keep creating experience for customers, which is what hospitality is all about.
There are many reasons why it's important for students to investigate their career options now. By engaging in career exploration, students make informed decisions not only about their career, but also about subject choices. One of the best ways to get a feel of the industry and a head start is to seek work experience opportunities. This will provide an insight into the industry. Students will be able to ask questions from those who work in the industry and gain valuable advice while building their network and contacts.
So when I was at school, especially when I was picking subjects, I did think about my interests. I did find an interest in business and commerce. So I was fortunate enough to reach out to a mentor of mine, and he said, look, you can bring it together. Although I started thinking I was going to do PR and advertising, I'm now working as front of house manager at Foresters in Surrey Hills.
This industry is about opportunity, and if you have the determination and drive, you can get those opportunities very quickly. I definitely got a lot of advice from career advisors and teachers when making those choices. Because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, it was more about keeping my options open. I definitely made sure that I was growing connections and having more of an understanding of the industry. So I had a really good progression path in that I was supported, and when I moved to Sydney, specifically working within one of the largest groups in hospitality, Maryvale, it meant that I was given those opportunities tenfold.
I got into the industry through TAFE New South Wales when I was studying. The company Intercontinental Hotels Group, or IHG, came to the campus and offered an Outbacker program. I just fell in love with this rewarding experience of being able to make somebody's holiday.
I'm a bit of an artist. I love to draw and I love to implement my arts into my food. I progressed from just washing dishes to food preparations, and then eventually I got offered an apprenticeship, and that's when I really took off into the industry. My TAFE New South Wales mentor, Bernadette, she has been an absolute inspiration for me to become a teacher in the future and then teach the next generation of chefs.
I love hospitality because I love people. I am a huge people person, and hospitality is something where you're serving guests, you're serving your customers, but you're also working in a team, and you just get to have such a good time, and everybody teaches you something all the time. You're always learning, and it's always evolving. Like, no day is ever the same. It's always different.
Every day it doesn't feel like work. I'm happy to go into work every day, and I never dread to go into work the night before. You always have fun and you make friends, and it feels like a big family. So you're going into an environment where you're always learning and people are there to support you.
Students who progress in the hospitality industry reap the long-term benefits. The global stage is their playground. They are likely to have opportunities to work anywhere in the world.
This industry has been very kind to me. I've been able to travel through my work, and I was the captain of the Australian Culinary Youth Team. So we were the competitive international representatives for the country, and we'd fly in and out of a whole bunch of different countries representing Australia and showing what we have as chefs. Australian chefs are really highly regarded all around the world. Australian produce is some of the best in the world. So young chefs have the opportunity to work with some of the best cuts of meat and seafood that the world has to offer. When you get an Australian chef walk into a kitchen in Switzerland or in London, they've got plenty of seafood experience and meat experience. And
being in this industry, the world is your oyster. When I was living and working in France, I was sort of jump on a train and in a couple of hours I was in Spain, and then being able to travel to Paris, fly over to the UK just for the weekend. Yeah, it's just mind-blowing to me, and I still sort of have to pinch myself in regards to the opportunities that I've had and where this career has taken me.
Important attributes to possess when considering the hospitality industry is to have an open mind and a willingness to learn. Be prepared to be creative, practical, and like using your hands to create.
The transferable skills I learned in the hospitality industry include money management, building relationships and problem solving, and also the customer service skills. With those skills, you get a job anywhere in hospitality.
You need to love working with people, and you need to want to be a team player. Emotional intelligence is something that's really, really important as well. Having great initiative, knowing when something needs to get done and doing it without needing to be told.
Organisation is just key, and to have everything organised around me, it just makes life so much more simple, so much more easy. It makes you feel better to be very organised and to be able to do multiple jobs.
Let your fun side come out, let your energy shine. If you're a helper or a people person, you like learning about different things, different cultures and different people, ask questions and be open to what you want to learn as a person as well.
I would say speak to people with experience as well. Try to get their view and try to learn from them as well. Even going into your local cafe, you can always start a conversation with the manager and ask questions and say you're interested about the industry and their own experiences, and then just learn from that.
If you have the right attitude, then in my belief, you're halfway there. Put yourself in a position where you learn off the best possible people and just become a sponge throughout your career. You will have the opportunity to go out and work with industry leaders to learn and sort of grow in your career.
Speak to your careers advisor, who is able to clarify your understanding, provide you with industry links, and support you with work experience opportunities. So from here, your job is to speak to your careers advisor.
And there's a reason why we all go to restaurants and have fun, is because we want to have that experience, and you will be part of that. If you love putting a smile on someone's face, and this is the industry for you.
We have some wonderfully talented people working in hospitality industry, and I think you can see from that video how much fun, creativity and energy that they have for the jobs that they love. Today we have Hamish Watts joining us. Hamish is the co-founder of Applejack Hospitality, now operating 9 hospitality venues across Sydney. Hamish, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company?
Hi Jen, of course can. Hi everyone, that was a great video by the way, loved it. Super inspiring, I reckon everyone got a bit out of that. Look, I've been in the industry for about 25 years. You probably wouldn't guess by looking at me, but as you said, we've got 9 sites, and that comprises of everything from restaurants, we've got a couple of pubs, and then we've also got a couple of cafes as well. Applejack currently employs just over 200 staff, and look, every day's unique. And I guess I fell into hospitality at the start in my career. Like I did a Bachelor of Arts and then moved into the hospitality space, as it was something that I'd always worked in while I was studying. But yeah, I've never looked back really. Once I decided to make hospitality a career choice, that's where I just kept moving.
Thanks, Hamish. What is it about the hospitality industry that you love?
Oh, look, it's the creative component. It's the diversity of the role. I think someone said in the video prior that not every day is the same. I wake up and I go to work extremely pumped. There's always something different that I could be working on, and whether that be like a customer service component within the job. So I might be working on like the service element and how we work with the customers. I could be working on what music we play to get the vibe happening. It could go right through to the next day I could be working on menu development with the chefs. It's got so many different areas, and each area within that space is challenging. But each area gives you that sort of like passion and drive to do better. So there's so many different variables, there's so many different areas to work on, and it's just endless how far you want to dive into it, really, which is what's really exciting about it.
And I guess that leads us to the next question. How large is the industry in Australia, and how important is it to the economy?
It's important to the economy. It's also important to people's self-esteem and motivation. And I think Beck said it best. It's like we go to restaurants for a reason. There's a reason we like to go out. But from an economic perspective alone, not just the social impact that restaurants and bars have, there's about 750,000 people employed across Australia. And it is going through a boom. It continues to boom. It's been booming for some time. We're expected to see about another 150,000 jobs over the next couple of years. And what's most challenging for operators like me, and also but probably best for potential candidates like the people listening today, there was already a skills shortage before COVID. We're already struggling to find good Australian employees. We're getting a lot of people from overseas, a lot of visa holders coming over. But it was already tricky to find good quality and good talented staff in Australia. And look, COVID's really compounded that. And based on the fact that the industry is going to expand even further over the next few years, there's opportunities aplenty for those that want to jump on board.
Thanks, Hamish. What are those opportunities that are available for younger workers who think of entering the hospitality industry?
Oh, look, there's just, as I said before, there's a lot of different areas. I've got people that start with us and they work. They might work as a waiter or a wait person, and then or a bartender. And then as they progress within the company, they show they've got an interest or an aptitude for marketing. There's the social media aspect within the space, so there's that element they could move into. There's maitre d's, so hosts. There's other people are managers. Then there's all the back of house stuff. There's just so many different jobs within the kitchens. You know, you might want to specialise in everything from pastry through to working the grill section. You might have a real penchant for Mexican food. So there's lots of different areas you can move into. And I guess the important thing is to understand the space holistically, I guess, and then start to understand where you'd like to move, because then we could also take the hotel industry and all of that part that comes with that, and then tourism. It's massive, and there's a lot of different opportunities. But you just got to get a foot in the door and work out where you want to start. But having a bit of an understanding about where you want to move is critical.
Thanks, Hamish. What are employers looking for when they're looking to bring new young talent into their business?
Look, the number one thing is attitude. You can employ people that have no experience in the hospitality space, and provided they've got the right attitude and the right passion for being, working with people and engaging with customers or being part of a team, that will get you everywhere in hospitality. So you might not be academically brilliant. I certainly wasn't at school. It wasn't my strong suit. I was better at engaging with people. I was better at talking to my friends. I was better at having a good time. And part of that really lent itself to the social aspect within hospitality, which of course lent me to moving into the front of house. But if you're organised and you're passionate and you're detailed, maybe perhaps the back of house is the area for you to be focusing on. Maybe you like focusing on food and things like that. So there's lots of different areas to look at, but the number one key is attitude. And then the other thing you've obviously got to do is just make sure that you've got any requirements that an employer needs, such as an RSA, or if you're working in pubs, perhaps an RCG.
So what can the students that are joining us today do to improve their employment prospects?
Well, as I said, get the important qualifications. The easy one is the RSA and the RCG. I would look to do some tertiary qualifications if you're unsure of what area you'd like to move into. A large part of it, though, is self-training. You want to be looking online and seeing what people are doing. If you're wanting to move into restaurants, a really good thing to do is to go out to restaurants. If you're interested in bars, an important thing to do is to go out and check out bars. What's the latest bar? There's lots of different things you can do, but I guess get a firm understanding of where you want to go. Something which was critical for me in my early part of my career when I started taking it really seriously was to find myself a mentor. And I found someone that sort of gave me some good advice about, where I might want to move and who I might want to work for. And that certainly helped propel me in the right direction to where I am today.
Thanks, Hamish. I think that you have given the students who are watching today a little bit of an insight on what they can do to go out and find themselves a job. I'll just clarify, the RSA is the responsible service of alcohol. So the minimum requirement that is legally required for anybody who's going into the industry and will obviously be serving or pouring drinks that involve alcohol, that include alcohol in it. So thanks for your time today, Hamish. Great insights from an employer. I think away from that message is, if you're looking for work, either full-time or a flexible option to support further studies, there are many opportunities in the hospitality industry, especially now.
Thanks, Jen.
So now we're now going to meet some of the stars from our video who can give you a better idea if this is the right industry for you. Joining us today, we have Vicky Lawrence, Daniel Azzopardi, Beck Watson and Lucy Marinan. They've had an impressive career so far and have uploaded their bios to the SharePoint for you. Vicky is here today to talk about working in accommodation services. Vicky, you've worked in the Northern Territory in a large tourism venue, in smaller regional hotels, and now you're currently managing the front of house services in a global hotel chain in the city. Tell us a little bit about your role. What does a front of house manager in a large hotel to hotel chain do? And what does a normal day look like to you?
Yeah, thanks, Jen. Exactly like the others have said, every day is different, which is just what makes it so exciting. I personally manage a team of about 30 people here. So that includes our reception staff and concierge. I'm responsible for making sure that we all work together to check guests in. We assist with their requests throughout their stay, provide local tourist information, book tours, things like that. I also do all the rostering, working with other departments in the hotel, so housekeeping, food and beverage, conferencing and events, working alongside them to make sure that the guests really enjoy their stay and have a great experience with us and have a great holiday.
And what did you do to become a front of house manager?
So I've been in the industry 10 years now. I started by studying an advanced diploma of tourism through TAFE, New South Wales. There I was offered the job as a receptionist in guest services in a hotel in Darwin in the Northern Territory. Since then, I've moved back to New South Wales, travelled a few places around New South Wales, all while working in different types of hotels. I was given numerous opportunities to work in the other areas of hotels. So again, housekeeping, food and beverage, conferencing and events, which has helped me move up to become a duty manager, running the daily shifts. And ultimately, all that put together is where I got to where I am now as the front office manager. So managing everything.
Thanks, Vicky. What are some of the perks of the job?
The best perks of the job is definitely the discounted accommodation rates, which you can access in Australia, across the world. Everybody likes cheaper hotel rooms. You've also got discounts in hotel restaurants. Lots of companies will offer free day tours, so you can go to the Blue Mountains or Hunter Valleys for free. And you've just got the flexibility to travel wherever you want to go, and you meet so many different people along the way.
Thanks, Vicky. Sounds fantastic. We'll go to Daniel next. Daniel has worked across various roles in hospitality, including waiting tables, working in bars, managing teams of food and beverage staff. He's now the venue manager at one of our largest bars in the city, the Paddington, which is part of the Maryvale Group. Maryvale manages over 70 venues across New South Wales, employing thousands of talented hospitality staff. Daniel, tell us a little bit about your role. What does a venue manager in one of the largest bars in the city do each day?
Hi guys, and thanks Jen for the introduction. So as the venue manager of Paddington, my main role is to drive the business forward. It's about looking after the staff that's included with that. So I manage a team of about 35 people front of house, and then also kitchen staff as well. So it's quite a big team, and we have a big business to do that with. I guess the main thing for me is looking after the staff, but also looking after the guests. So looking after that experience and really focusing on what can improve their experience, giving them the best experience every single time, and also improving on that on a day-to-day basis. Mainly, my job is day-to-day operations. So looking after, you know, the operations when someone walks through the door to the minute they walk out, and everything in between that. So when they're in the restaurant, it's about the service, it's about the quality of the food, the quality of the beverage, the atmosphere that we create in the venue. But it's also getting everyone else up to speed with that. So progressing my staff, training my staff, and making sure that they enjoy and have fun while doing that.
So how did you get into the industry, Daniel? How did you start? We know you took a gap year, so just talk us through that.
So in the gap year, I actually took a year off and decided not to go straight into university. And in that time, I actually studied at TAFE New South Wales for a Cert 3 in hospitality. And in that time, I was working in similar to an RSL club, where I was doing everything from reception roles to waiting, but also bar. So I really looked after a full experience of what that venue had to offer, and learned as much as I could in that year, which was able to propel me into the career that I have now.
Thanks, Daniel. We've recognised that you've had a really quick career progression. What we might do is just head over to Beck now. Beck is our next featured star. Beck started working in a juice bar, and once her parents bought a pub in regional New South Wales, she became interested in the business side of running a business. She's worked in most roles again, like Daniel, including waitresses, bar work, and was able to combine her passion for both business, marketing, and hospitality to find the right job to suit her talents. Beck, tell us a little bit about your role. What does a front of house manager in a bar do? Have we still got you with us, Beck? I think you might be on mute. There you go.
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, everyone. So my role as a front of house manager really involves overseeing the day-to-day activities of our pub and restaurant. And that involves managing the front of house employees, making sure that they've got everything that they need for the day. And then it's looking after our customers, making sure they're greeted at the front door with a beautiful smile and that they leave our venue having an amazing experience. The specific jobs that I look after, though, is responding to booking and event inquiries and setting up for any events that evening, ordering consumables for the week, and if any issues arise during the day, I'm the first port of call.
That sounds really busy. You started working in a juice bar and you've worked in many different roles. Where did you start and what training did you undertake? And what did you do to get the role you're in now?
Yeah, like you said, Jen, I started out like we all do, working as a casual in a little juice bar while I was still at school. But my passion for hospitality really started when my parents bought a pub in country New South Wales. I got to work in many areas, from serving behind the bar, cooking, preparing food, organising events, and also looking after social media channels. I continued to work in the hospitality industry while I studied a degree in commerce and media. But it was when I returned home from travelling overseas for a year where I became lost as to where I wanted to pursue my career. It was either in marketing or in hospitality. After speaking to a mentor of mine, he really guided me to stick to my passion and that my skills will eventually come to me along the way. And here I am today working as a front of house manager and currently working my way towards an events and reservations manager.
Thanks, Beck. We're now going to go to Lucy, who works in one of Australia's most luxurious resorts, the Emirates one and only at Walgan Valley. She now trains staff to work in food and beverage roles and to make sure that they have the right skills for the job. So Lucy, tell us a little bit about your role and what a food and beverage attendant does.
Hi everybody. So as a food and beverage attendant, I do pretty much anything and everything. So from serving our guests in our fine dining restaurant to working in the bar to doing mini bar service, in villa dining. So I get to drive a little buggy around the resort because it's in a really remote location, as you can see in my background behind me. So I get to do all sorts of things. Every day is different, like everybody says, and that's the beauty of hospitality. You just are always surprised, and it's honestly one of the best things ever. I love being in food and beverage.
Lucy, you're now training other staff in food and beverage. Where did you start and what did you do to become a trainer?
Yeah, so I did a Cert 3 in hospitality like Daniel, actually. So I had a gap year as well, my first year out of school. So I did that through TAFE. So I'm from Queensland, so I did it in Queensland. I then worked at the Treasury Casino in Queensland as well, and I was a team leader there. So I have a passion for teaching and for training and inspiring people to love hospitality. I also have a bachelor degree in tourism and hotel management as well. So all those things combined have given me a really great level of knowledge. But again, with hospitality, you don't need to go get that degree. You can do the Cert 3, you can get experience and work your way up that way. And that's why I love training, because you can just do so much with it.
And Lucy, why would you recommend working in the hospitality industry to the young people that are listening in today?
Because it's fun and you get to meet so many amazing people. I have met amazing guests. I work with people from all over the world, you know, and I will say, take that opportunity to go work in a place that pushes you out of your comfort zone. I work kind of in a very remote location and it's been the best thing I've ever done. So don't always stick to those city jobs. If you want, push yourself, go work up in an island in Queensland, go work in Western Australia, in Qualia, Tasmania. There are places everywhere. You just need to look and they will be the experiences that push you and give you that really great opportunity.
Thanks, Lucy. I think everybody's missing those opportunities at the moment. So I know the people that are listening today can see just how far this industry can take you and how much fun there is.
Absolutely.
Now we're just going to hand over to Sue Robertson, and she's going to introduce us to our chefs, which is when we talk about back of house, that's what we're talking about, the food in the kitchen. So over to you, Sue.
Thank you, Jen, and good morning and welcome to everyone joining in today. I'm Sue Robertson. I'm the TAFE Industry Lead for Cuisine, and today I'm welcoming in 3 really inspiring guest chefs to talk to us. With me, I have today Karen Doyle, the National President with the Australian Culinary Federation, Billy Fox, sous chef at the Imperial Clifton, and Harley Norman, sous chef at Sassafras at Yamba. And again, please, you know, they've got their superstars, their bios are going to be on the site for you. And I tell you what, these guys knock my socks off. So I'd like to start with Karen. Karen, what inspired you to become a chef?
Oh, well, actually, to be perfectly honest, I never intended to be a chef. I was at home, obviously, in Ireland, just on that transition between uni and finishing school. And I got a summer job in a little tiny 5-star hotel. And that's where my passion for the industry started. I was offered a scholarship straight into culinary college in Dublin. And I have to say, to this day, my parents were horrified. It was not the career they expected me to go into. First person in my family to go into hospitality. But it's amazing the pathways that's shown me. I've traveled the world. I've never been out of work. And it's pathwayed me into becoming a teacher, into becoming a program manager, running a college now, and also being national president of the Australian Culinary Federation. So it is a career that can lead you in many, many, many different paths. So there you go, Sue. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Harley, how did you end up being a chef? Sorry, Harley, we've just got to unmute you. Great.
Hi. Yeah, I started off approaching one of my favorite restaurants, and I asked for a job and I had the right attitude, and I started as a dishwasher. But very soon after that, I progressed into doing just food kitchen and showing a passion towards food and how it's done and how it's operated. So then I ended up getting offered to step up to a line cook. And then that's when I really started throwing my creativity out there. And then they offered me an apprenticeship, and I jumped on that. And here I am today, a sous chef at my restaurant, loving absolutely every moment. So this is where I am now.
Great. Thanks, Harley. Billy, what led you into the kitchen?
Yeah, for me, it was a little bit of a childhood thing. I very fondly remember making a lemon meringue pie with Nan. And for me, it was the whole mixing the sugar and the egg whites and making something like meringue. You know what I mean? It really blew my mind as an 8-year-old. So I suppose that led me to thinking all the time, like what can be achieved with different ingredients and whatnot. So yeah, it took me from there. And similarly, I finished school. I finished in year 10, took an apprenticeship, and yeah, never looked back. That was 10 years ago.
Sounds great. Now, Billy, I know that you have had lots of fun whilst competing, and you've done some great things in your career, and we're all going to see that in the bio, which would be great. So you've competed both in Australia and internationally with some really great creative chefs. Can you tell me about your role, what that involved, and your role as Young Chef Ambassador?
Yeah, sure. So for me, the two roles are, I suppose, interconnected, but they're separate. So the first role is the captain of the Australian Culinary Youth Team. Obviously, with travel the way that is at the moment, that's pretty well come to a halt, which is okay. It's given me a little chance to refresh. But I captained a team that was supported by the Australian Culinary Federation. I think we ended up doing about 8 countries all through the world and about 4 different continents. So we were super fortunate to travel and see the world and get to cook in that regard. And my role is the Young Chefs Ambassador for Australia. So I report to the global development team for young chefs, and we work on a whole bunch of different projects depending on what we're doing at the moment is a mental health program and wellbeing program for young hospitality staff. But yeah, the projects change all the time. So yeah.
That's great. It's really well worth all those programs that are running. So thank you for sharing that. Harley, you've mentioned in the past that being a chef's giving you an ability to do some of the great things you love in a sunny regional town on the coast there at Yamba, beautiful spot, and do the things you love. Can you tell us a bit about your ideal day, what's involved, and where you get to both work and play? It's a bit of a balance. It's great.
Yeah, of course. My ideal day is pretty much a typical day, actually. I get up at about 9 o'clock. I head into work, and my work is really close. So I take my surfboard into my work. I go and work for a few hours, say 3 hours, do all my day's prep. And then I take my surfboard and I go straight down to the beach. It's like 60 seconds away from where I work. I go for a great surf. And then I go home, have a shower, get changed. And then I'm back at work at about 4:30, ready for service, bang out service. And then we all usually at work, we're a big family. So we all have a few celebratory drinks after a good service. And then we all go home to our respective homes and just kick our feet up and relax and then start that day over and over again. And it's absolutely fantastic.
Sounds great. It really sounds that you've got that really good balance there, which is a great service industry to be in. Now, over to you, Karen. Karen, a lot of us watch Gordon Ramsay. Is it really like that? I mean, the thought of that would scare off the best of us. So what is it like in the kitchen, and how can someone looking at being a chef be supported in the industry?
Gordon Ramsay, I think in this day and age, those days are gone. Definitely when I was a young apprentice, yes, there were incidences, especially being young and female in a kitchen. I think I was 1 out of 18 and glass was broken behind me, I think 13 times in 1 week. But becoming a business owner as I move forward and own my own restaurant going into that, I've seen the mentality change. There's a lot more now around, shifting of culture, self-care. For example, the Star have gone to a 4-day week. It's all about supporting our young chefs and our workers in these days. For me, with the Australian Culinary Federation, Billy's referred to being the ambassador. We've really worked on our Australian young chefs, and in that I've got a team of mentors across Australia that are available for our young chefs and support. So we have that mentorship base set up, which is available to any young chef or young person in Australia. So there's definitely a lot of supports now. Thank you, Sue.
Yeah, that's great. Now over to you again, Harley. How do you use your creativity in the kitchen?
I use my creativity in lots of different ways, but mainly I love using my artist creativity into my food. I love making artwork on a plate, where people get that put in front of them and they, even the people that don't like taking photos of food going, I've got to get a photo of that. Or people say, I loved your food. It was a shame I had to eat it. It looks so pretty, using colors and unique garnishes and just really putting something fantastic and unique out there that people go, wow. And it brings a smile to their face, it brings a smile to my face, and allowing that to happen is incredible. And that's where I use my creativity.
Thanks, Harley. Billy, I'm sure quite a few of us are wondering, what about the pay?
Yeah, sure. That's a very good question. I think similar to what Hamish said when we kicked off, this industry is extremely vast. And as such, the pay is very much the same. So obviously we have our entry-level jobs, which is your apprenticeship wage or your traineeship wage if you're out the front. And generally the case is, as an apprentice, that you're being paid to train. So you're generally getting paid to go to TAFE, and generally your TAFE is paid for by your employer or your host. So that's really, really great incentive. And then look, you work your way all the way up. So there's jobs ranging from $50,000 a year all the way up to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. You have to imagine places like Crown Casino and the Star and airline caterers, Universal Studios and Disneyland all have huge food operations. So the people that run those operations are on, some really fantastic salaries.
That's great. Thank you. Karen, Billy, final question just for you. Traditionally, being a chef was seen as predominantly a male area. Is this still the case today?
I'll start on this one. To me, being a female in industry, I find this very frustrating when I hear these questions. To me, there should not be a difference between gender within a kitchen. Yes, traditionally there was, but basically chefs are passionate. We all have a desire to learn. We all love new products, techniques, and we get out there. If we look through history, I think Julia Child was probably the most prominent female, or the first female that really broke the barriers. If we look across now, we've got a lot of our female. Claire Smith holds 3 Michelin stars. She's in the top 10 chefs in the world. So I think that perception is changing. And I have to say, it was surprising for me becoming the national president of the ACF, it being the first female. To me, that wasn't a big deal. But obviously to a lot of young females in industry, it does make you a good mentor and role model. And I'll hand over to Billy to see what Billy's opinion is from the other side.
Yeah, 100%. I'd totally agree. I think women and female chefs are a real asset to this industry. I think that they're generally a little bit better at keeping a level head. They generally do a really good job of keeping the other egos in check in the kitchen. They're generally a little bit more precise and they're better organized. So yeah, I have a kitchen team of 20 and a quarter of our team are females. I wouldn't have a kitchen any other way.
Great. Thank you, Karen, and thank you, Billy and Harley. Being a chef, obviously a rewarding career, and we appreciate your time today in sharing your stories. I'm now going to hand over to Janet Hanlon. Janet's going to explain how you can get started in the industry and what pathway opportunities are available across hospitality. Over to you, Janet.
Thank you so much, Sue. We've heard this morning from our presenters the wonderful stories about the diverse array of careers on offer in the hospitality industry. Indeed, the accommodation and food services industry is one of Australia's largest employment sectors, and there really has never been more opportunities available for people who want to start a career in hospitality. So how far can you go? One of the best things about a career in hospitality is just how far you can progress if you have the passion and the willingness to work hard and keep learning. As you've heard from our speakers today, it's possible to progress very quickly from an entry-level position through to a stellar career managing a large team of people. There are so many entry-level positions available in the hospitality industry to get you started. You may choose to work as a cafe attendant, barista, waiter, or bar attendant. The hotel industry has roles for housekeepers, porters, night auditors, front office reception, and guest services. Once you learn the basics of these jobs, you can progress into a wide range of leadership and management roles. If you continue with your studies, you can even move into executive functions such as sales, marketing, or human resources. Who knows, one day you may end up as the general manager of an amazing 6-star hotel on the ski slopes, or in a senior role in a global hotel chain. You can see here the range of courses on offer at TAFE New South Wales and the possible job roles that may be open to you. You might start your career with a Certificate 3 in hospitality and study that as part of your HSC. From there, you may progress into the workforce and maybe take up a diploma or advanced diploma. There's a great range of options to articulate into a university degree if you decide to continue your learning. A career in hospitality, in commercial cookery, also knows no limits. There are a range of entry-level jobs that require no experience or qualifications and get you started so you can learn the ropes. A chef's career begins with Certificate 3 in commercial cookery and is often undertaken as a 4-year apprenticeship. This allows you to gain hands-on experience, learning your craft while you undertake TAFE studies and earn a living. Once you've qualified, you may work across an extensive range of cuisines and restaurant settings. You might become the very best in your profession and earn hats and Michelin stars. You might choose to open your own restaurant, travel and work overseas, with options to progress to a senior leadership role in a global hotel chain or global restaurant group. Again, there's a range of TAFE New South Wales courses that will open doors for you throughout your commercial cookery career. Higher level qualifications will add leadership and management skills to your technical skills and enable you to thrive in this fast-paced and very rewarding industry. Now, look, one of the biggest challenges that many people face when they're starting their career is actually getting that first job. We've all heard the stories about you can't get the job if you don't have the experience, and you can't get the experience if you don't have the job. There is some mandatory training required if you're wanting to work in serving alcohol, working in gaming, or handling food. The TAFE New South Wales offers a responsible service of alcohol, the responsible conduct of gaming, and food safety. These courses can usually be completed in a day, and we would encourage you to get started and start to build your portfolio of some of these mandatory qualifications that you need to get your career started. You do, of course, need to be 18 if you're working where there is alcohol or gaming. But there's a lot of other short courses, even before you're 18, that you can commence now. So you could do a course in barista, kitchen skills, or working with food to get your foot in the door and get your first position. So the great news is you can start your skilling now. Gain part-time work while you're still at school, and that'll really give you an edge when you start applying for your first post-secondary school jobs. Really encourage you to seek further information about fee-free summer skills courses so that you're ready to start work. For more information, visit the TAFE New South Wales website or see your career advisor. There are no limits. Dream big, work hard, and enjoy an amazing career in hospitality. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. We now have 10 minutes to answer any questions that are in the chat. Amy, are there any questions from our audience? Our guests are all available online to answer any questions.
Thanks, Jen. We've had a lot of questions coming through during the event. If anyone wants to pop any additional ones in now, better be quick. Now, one of the questions that has come up a few times is for a student considering applying for jobs in hospitality industry, what are your recommendations? Any pointers from the panel?
I think we might go to Hamish there. Hamish, you're an employer. You'll be looking at employing some more staff. So if any young people are interested in getting a job, what would you recommend as a tip for them when they're applying for jobs?
Well, as I said, given it is such a large space and there are so many different opportunities that present themselves when you're looking at hospitality, I think it's really important to do a bit of a deep dive into what really excites you about it. And you need to work out whether or not you're the people person and whether or not you want to be working on front of house. And if you decide that you want to do that, then is it an organisational capacity? Are you inspired by managing people? Do you want to be a manager of people? Or alternatively, if you like, a lot of these great chefs who spoke today, they spoke about being like passionate around creativity and the art component, and then the organisational components and things like that come with being a chef. If that's the sort of thing that gets you excited, then you can, spend some time exploring that. And then within that, start to sort of work out which areas you want to go into. And look, to be honest, it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. A lot of it can be just sort of finding what you want, what you're vaguely interested in, and going and just having a crack at it. You might want to walk into a restaurant and think, look, I don't know if hospitality is for me, but look, it's summer coming up. The industry, everything's lockdown's about to end. This place is about to go off. Let me go and get a job for a little while and just see what it's like. And I'm sure there'll be plenty of employers willing to give you a go, and you can try out different aspects. And I certainly have people start with me, and they might be like a qualified chef, but they've told me from the start, look, I've been doing chefing for a while. I want to try front of house, and we afford that to them. It's one of those areas that you might like to try different things. So all I can say is find out the areas you want to go into, but just rip the Band-Aid off and jump in and have a go, because there's so many different elements. And once you get into hospitality, if you're with the right company or the right employer, they'll certainly guide you in the right direction. You'll end up in the area that you're best suited to anyway. So long answer to a short question.
Thanks, Hamish. What we might also do is we might go out to Sam as well. Sam, you were studying down south. You started your trade, your apprenticeship commercial cookery trade at TAFE. Now you've ended up working all across the world, Italy, France, Saudi Arabia. You've worked at some of our best restaurants in Australia and around the world. So what advice would you give to young people joining us today?
Look, as Hamish said, in the very beginning, I think have the right attitude from the beginning, and really sort of be open-minded, and just be willing to have a go, and just sort of don't sort of think too much about it. Just sort of put yourself out there, put yourself out of your comfort zone, and you really sort of learn and grow as a person. And look, I've worked with a vast array of different people from all over the world, and each sort of opportunity that I've had come my way, it's sort of off the back of knowing someone that I've previously worked for, or knowing someone that they've worked for. And the doors just continue to open throughout your career, and the opportunities are endless.
And so what did you do, Sam, to get a start? Tell us about when you were at school.
So when I was at school, I did work experience. I didn't have any sort of real desire to become a chef. Did work experience, and they offered me an apprenticeship. Started that as soon as I left school, and then moved to Sydney, and then sort of that's when my my career really took off, I suppose. I was able to go over to Italy and went to an international cooking school there, and from there I went over to the UK. Worked in a 2-Michelin star restaurant for an Australian chef, actually, Brett Graham, and then through there I went across to France, again through the back of someone working in the UK, and the opportunities just sort of kept coming, and just through having the right attitude and being sort of driven and determined to sort of get to where I wanted to go.
Thanks, Sam. One of the popular job roles at the moment for young people is working as a barista. We know that everybody has a little bit of a passion for coffee in Australia. So Monica, I'm going to come over to you. So Monica came from Ireland 2 years ago as a barista. Monica, can you just talk us through what your career looks like, or why you would recommend barista as a level entry job for people who are joining us today, but then also the rewards of a long-term career?
Hi everyone. I would definitely recommend working as a barista because it's actually very fun. You get to meet a lot of people every single day. A lot of the customers will come back, so they'll become your regular customers. You'll make friends with these customers. I'm even in contact with them during lockdown, texting, phone calls, because they're my friends now. You also get to make a lot of your customers' days every day. So you're one of the first people that they get to see in the morning. So a lot of the time they do have a meeting in the morning and they do be nervous. So you have a quick chat with them, you make their day, it's really easy. And after a few years of being a barista, you get to you get to start to train staff around the company as well. You get to go to different roasteries as well, see how coffee is made. You learn where the coffee comes from. So yeah, I started as a barista maybe 7 years ago now. I fell into it, I fell in love with it, and people do drink the coffee and they have a smile on their face after it, and that's actually a really good feeling as well.
Thanks, Monica. So we just have a final question now. We're going to go to Janet. Janet, what would be, I guess, the final advice for people who are looking for work? Where can they go? What do they need to do? Any last tips for them?
Thanks, Jen. Yes, look, as you've heard from some of our presenters today, while the industry's had a bit of a struggle and we've all missed going out and dining, it looks like everything is going to open up for Christmas this year, and all of the work that we do with our industry partners is that the challenge is they're going to have to go from zero to 100 to reopen very, very quickly. So my advice would be get any of those short courses that we mentioned under your belt now. Polish up your CV. You don't have to have had work experience. Just talk about, your social skills and some of the things that you've done at school that will put you ahead of the pack, and anything you volunteered for. Put your very best smile on, think about your grooming, and just go to the place that you dream to work, knock on the door. Hey guys, I want to work here. I'm free for summer. I'm available to do the shifts that you need me to do. And I think you'll be so surprised about the number of job opportunities that will open up for you. There's also a wealth of, opportunities if you go online and do some searching for the particular jobs that you're after. However, and I'd like to hear what Hamish's view is, I think actually a personal approach to the people you'd like to work with would be extraordinarily well received.
Thanks, Janet. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us today. For students who are listening in, I think you've been given a lot of insight into the industry. You heard Gigi in the video say that if you're interested in a career in hospitality, talk to your careers advisor, organise some work experience in the industry so that you can get a bit of a taster. Go out and get some of the qualifications, your responsible service of alcohol, try some of the hospitality courses that are available to you. Go and talk to some of your favourite cafes, restaurants and bars. Find out what opportunities they have for you. Get your resume up to date. Practice the interview techniques. Present really well, and you will have a job in hospitality, especially over the holidays. So as a final thank you for everybody that has joined us today. I might just give a quick mention to David to do a final goodbye. And thank you to everybody that has joined us today. Thanks, David.
Thanks, Jen. Look, I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed by what everybody's had to say today. There is so much passion apparent, and it's great to hear from people who are doing it, people who are in the industry, hear how they got there and how much they love it. That's what you need to think about and follow through. There was some good advice there about thinking about apprenticeships and traineeships. The thing about that is it's a job. It's a job, and you learn and you get skills, and the qualification you get can take you anywhere. And just want to make sure that you understand that while you're being paid, the government will actually pay for your training. So we'll pay for your training, for your apprenticeship or traineeship. A great opportunity. thanks to all the industry people who are involved. This is a fantastic industry. And just while we are in these COVID restrictions, it's amazing to see how people have transformed and found different ways to keep their staff on, to keep working, to keep servicing us as customers, the takeaway and everything else. You know, really, really well done. And I hope everybody today has got a lot out of this session.
Thanks, David. Okay, so finally, last minute, we're going to put a survey up on the screen now. If you could please use that survey to I guess, get in touch and let us know if anybody's interested in further study. There are summer skills fee-free training available for all school leavers at the end of this year. So if you click on this QR code and fill in the 6 questions, it will take you less than 60 seconds. We will then get in contact with your careers advisors and give them some information to help you in your local area. If you're looking for a job, we can do the same thing. We will help you get connected to industry to get started in the workplace. So just as a final finish up, thank you again to all of our panelists and all of our inspiring hospitality staff that joined us today, the guest speakers, and thank you to all of the audience today. I hope really great rest of your day, and I hope to see you working in this industry sometime in the future. Thank you, everyone.